We made it to the fourth episode. Cardi and Nicki have made up. What's up with Trippie and 6ix9ine beefing? Can't we all just get along? Stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in to the fourth episode of the Tell It Like It Is Hip Hop News Reaction podcast. This is your host, SP the Artist, signing in. If you are not yet a subscriber, I hope that you will subscribe to the channel, like, comment, and share on the video. Also hit the notification bell so you can get the latest of episode updates. Anyway, I want to get into today's topic, but before I do, I want to give you guys a bit more of a backstory on me. Today's topic, by the way, is clout chasing and crowd pleasing. Back into the backstory about myself. When I did the first episode, I kind of touched on it a little bit about who I am and what I do and where I'm from, but I was so passionate about getting the Nicki and Cardi B conversation started, and in terms of what I felt was being spun around their controversy. I didn't really get into it, but I'm gonna tell you who I am. SP the Artist. My government is Russell McLean. My pen name is Sean Price. There's like 4 of us Russell McLeans in the family. I have a son. I have a cousin and an uncle as well. 3 of us are artists. So naturally I want to stand out. So originally I chose the pen name, Leonardo Dali. I was inspired by 2 of my idols. That's Salvador Dali and Leonardo da Vinci, obviously. Combined those names, but then I later realized, as I wanted to explore painting and other things, that I really couldn't sign Dali in on a painting and feel comfortable about it. I felt like Salvador has done enough. So Sean Price is what I came up with. Now, ironically, when I came up with that name, I didn't realize that a rapper from a collective, the Boot Camp Clique, that was his government name. I had no idea. Basically, Sean Price was inspired by Sean Combs and Sean Carter, 2 self-made black men from the inner city. And that's why I came up with that. And I just felt like my dream and my ambition was priceless. So I just put it together with Sean Price. So there you go. I come from a poor background. I grew up in Baltimore City. I was raised in the Park Heights community. I spent at least 7 years of my life. I think my sister said it was probably more. I'm not sure. In foster home, I kind of remember 7 years. Maybe I might have some of that information wrong. But, in foster home, we finally got back with our mom. My mom had, mental problems. She was, she had bipolar disorder, and, she also struggled with alcohol and narcotics, but she was a great woman, inspired me a great deal. She made a lot of breakthroughs, which showed me that you can do a lot with a little. So anyway, out of that tumultuous upcoming, basically, I took a lot of positives away from the relationship I had with my mom and everything else. My father wasn't in my life until I was 17. But when he came in, I was excited, and I had open arms for him. I had reunited with long lost siblings. That was a blessing in my life. I did dibble and dabble with, dealing narcotics from age 12 to 29. Lost a lot of good friends, as most people in the inner cities, have. But basically, I just wanted to really get to the point of my story and why I feel like it's important. Even with this podcast, like I started it, when I really didn't have much. And like even now, like as a disclaimer, I'm not a millionaire, I'm not already rich, I'm not already successful or anything. I'm just a guy with a dream that's just chasing it. And before I get into this whole clout chasing and crowd pleasing thing, I think that it was important for me to touch on this, to add to that. Basically, the reason why I hope that I inspire people is I'm just letting you know I'm getting it out of the mud. I'm building my brand. I'm a creator. I'm a writer. I'm an inventor. I'm an entrepreneur. I've been in situations, and I'm telling you, where I've been literally the only person that believed in any of the divisions that I've had and that I've gone for. And I wasn't really surrounded with a lot of belief in it, but that's my point. It was important that I had the belief, and that's really all that matters. We can't ever complain about getting started and maintaining and pushing for our goals, our dreams, our vision, if we ourselves are not believing in it. So you have to understand that focusing on someone else's belief and pleasing too many of the wrong people or looking to get support from the wrong people is not going to help your cause. The most important thing is for you to self-correct as you go, fail as fast as you can in the push. You're going to hear me talk about a lot of different tactics and everything. Like today, I'm going to touch on the false consensus effect and the false uniqueness effect. There's not a lot of people that are aware of it. And I'm, like I said, I'm not here to shade anyone in the industry, to vilify the media or anything. There are a lot of people with integrity in media. So I want to keep that clear. And, like I said, I'm not here to defend every artist just because I'm a creator as well. There are artists who make bad decisions. The thing that I'm saying with my podcast is what is more popular and trending and the hottest, news topics, hip hop. Hip hop is a topic that I love to talk about, but I'm also going to speak on it as it relates to us as human beings in our lives in general and just having a discussion. And I feel like that's very relevant. And also I would like to say that artists are human. Even though we build them up and then we tear them down when they show us they're human, I'm a big believer in stoicism and a lot of what Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, what his teachings were on stoicism. I read his book Meditations, and, he says in there, and just like Ecclesiastes and scripture, for those of you that are familiar with Bible scriptures, you can be religious or not. It's all about the philosophy, and the context. We should never be surprised when we hear about things in the hearts of man or the ways of man. But yet and still, every time we hear about some mistake about another human being, we act shocked. And I like to shed light to that. And there's a lot of biases that we share. And like I said, I will never be the one to criticize or judge any human being because they are human. I understand a lot more about the little that we do know about our brains and the way we function as human beings. That definitely doesn't put me on a high horse and make me feel like I'm better than anyone. I'm just saying that there's a lot of biases that go on. Anyway, getting back to crowd pleasing and all of these things. My point is, if you have an idea, if you have something you believe in, something that you want to share, it is valuable. You don't have to be worth $1 million. Okay. The fact that you're willing to share it, means a lot. There could be a numerous amount of people out there who need that type of inspiration, who may not have the support system in their vicinity. And a lot of time, and that's why I say the false uniqueness. And I'm going to just touch on it real quick, just to give you guys an understanding. The false uniqueness effect is when a person has good intentions, dreams, ambitions, they're genuine, and they feel like they're being singled out, like the world is against them, that nobody agrees with them, and they're the only ones that are trustworthy and loyal. That's not a true statement. That's why it's called the false uniqueness effect. As a matter of fact, even if you're feeling down, negative, like suicidal, to feel all alone, and usually that's a part of what causes people to commit suicide. And again, I'm no expert in these things. I'm only stating empirical, data points. That's it. So basically, when a person says, "Oh, I feel alone, I feel down, I'm depressed," actually, there's millions of other people in the world at that same time that feel exactly the way that they are. So they're not unique. And like I said, and there's a false consensus effect, meaning, let's just say someone feels as though they had a popular opinion, right? And let's talk about it again, the Kanye controversy. There's a lot of people in Black Twitter or in our communities as Black people who feel as though the popular consensus is to disagree with Kanye and what he's saying. And so to speak against Kanye, they think it's a trend to do, that it helps them or something like that. And this is only for the disingenuine followers. There are some people who are committed and who wholeheartedly disagree with what he's saying. But what I'm saying, that's also false. It's a false narrative. It's just that what we hear the most and what's available to us is people disagreeing with him. But in actuality, it could be even. It could be a lot more people who actually do agree with him. So it's false consensus. So even if I speak on disagreeing with Kanye, right, which I don't agree with all of his approaches, but I understand where he's coming from. So I'm not going to vilify him. I'm not going to jump on the bandwagon of tearing Kanye down in hopes to rise myself up. Not going to do it. And I do not give a damn if it's not popular, what I'm saying, with some people, because, again, to my point, I'm not here to crowd please. I understand that that's absolutely impossible to do anyway, so I wouldn't waste my time to do it. Anyway, what I'm saying is, a narrative would be put out there that the majority of the world disagrees with Kanye. And in fact, that is not a true statement. There are a lot of people who do agree with him. So the false consensus would be, the majority of the world hates Kanye and disagrees with him. And that's false. It's just that a lot more of what we hear, what's available to us, is people not agreeing with him. But now what we're starting to hear is people like me, instead of vilifying him for the points that we disagree with, we see exactly what he's doing, in general, and what he's saying. And we're supporting that. We're not, fearful of backlash. I feel like, people who are conformists, crowd pleasers, crowd followers, jump on bandwagon trends. And I will never talk about the Me Too movement in with any slight. There's always going to be disingenuous people everywhere. But I feel like it's disingenuous for someone to keep trying to call people out as being disingenuous. I'm usually seeing it always being a case of the pot calling the kettle black. When you're hearing the mob or anyone trying to out someone or make someone look bad, a lot of times they have their own skeletons. I just take issue with people. No human being is perfect. No one is better. Everyone has a dark side. Everyone has skeletons. So I have a problem with people not airing out and being truly transparent and want to bring up someone else's bad points. And I just want to say this before I get into it, because I'm about to really get into the discussion. But I wanted to touch back on my upcoming, and what I had to learn is you can't please people. And here's the thing. You can't also get upset with people that don't share your vision. It's your vision for a reason. You have to bring it to fruit. You have to paint the picture, people. So whenever you're distracted on whether or not somebody believes in you or not, no matter where you're starting, you're dropping that paintbrush. When you're distracted by that, oh, they didn't believe in me, they didn't give me the support. No, you're trying to please too many people instead of simply pleasing yourself by expressing yourself, by painting the picture. You have to paint the picture for people. Everyone is not a visionary. You can help them with their visionary side, okay, if you're a true visionary, okay, by painting the picture. I had to learn that. I used to take shit personal. Oh, no one believes in me. No, paint the fucking picture so they can see. Bottom line. And guess what? It's not guaranteed that they're going to like it, but it's about you expressing yourself, about you learning. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on my background and say, yeah, I come from dysfunction. I come from all types of challenges. I sold drugs. I was a womanizer, a sex addict for years. I've turned that around, became highly disciplined. I've been abstaining sexually, for long periods off and on for the past 4 years. Since my last relationship, and focusing on self-correction, because I personally believe that, a person shouldn't put their negative energy into things. I mean, I went into my inner citadel, and not in isolation, but basically just to clean up myself, my inner world, to make sure that I'm putting out the best energy for people to be around. I really believe in the proximity rule, and basically surrounding yourself with positive, like-minded people. And with that being said, I do my best to keep myself around those type of people. I don't judge anyone where they're at as far as mindset. But anyway, I'm just wanting to say that I had to learn that not everyone is going to see your vision, that it's important for me to believe in myself, that I can't please everyone. And that if I want people to know about me, I got to spread the word about myself. I can't be silent and expect people to know who the fuck I am. Social media is an awesome platform, and regardless of the negativity out there, I don't focus on any of that shit. And that's another thing I want to talk about. So now I want to start the conversation. And I want to talk about what's in hip hop news to me. And I want to really touch on this today, the whole clout chasing, crowd pleasing thing. And I want to first start off by saying I'm so happy to see Nicki and Cardi at least have a conversation. I don't know where that's going to take If you guys don't know, at the 2018 Met Gala, Cardi B made her debut there, looking, gorgeous and stunning, and, Nicki as well. And there's a shot of them having a conversation, and it looks to be endearing and positive. And I hope it really sets a positive example, because I feel like a lot of people have been gaining, clout and attention based on the controversy surrounding them. And like I said before, I get it. When it comes in terms of telling a story, conflict is absolutely essential, I believe. But there's also high points, because in storytelling and in writing, you can end a chapter, scene, verse, or whatever with a conflict, or you can begin it with a conflict or end it with a solution, or begin it with a solution. Whichever one you choose, you kind of mix it up to keep the reader or the listener or the viewer interested. So basically we kind of all are guilty of it. Seeing conflict, seeing controversy. Nowadays I kind of like tune out of things. If it's not really adding value, I tune out. If there's a point to be made or something to learn, I tune in. I don't necessarily tune away from everything, but I feel like if it's excessive and it's negative messaging, then I tune out. Anyway, to see that, Cardi and Nicki having at least a conversation, what it appeared to be. Like I said, I don't claim to have been there. I was not at the Met Gala. I've seen it in media like you all and anyone else. But what I'm saying, I'm glad to see that. And it's soon, because I didn't think it would happen this soon, but I'm glad. And I never lost faith in those two artists. I really believe that those two artists had their own voice. And even if they could be, temporarily influenced by what's happening out there, I feel like they will always pull it back to their main objectives and express themselves. Like I said, they're both talents. One doesn't take away from another. They're in two different lanes entirely. And it doesn't matter if one writes their own or one has a team. None of that shit matters. As long as they have, putting out consistent hits, they have good ears, and they're adding values to their fan base. That's all that matters. They're not going to be perfect. They shouldn't be held to that. I feel like they're setting some good examples in showing minority women standing up and making breakthroughs. Cardi B is the first Latina hip hop artist to break through on a pop level. I'm pretty sure that there are some Latina artists that, I'm not familiar with. I wouldn't consider Lisa, cause she was kind of like R&B to me, even though she was connected to hip hop. So there's probably many more. And I think there is another, it's a lot of Latina hip hop, artists. I just don't know all of their names off top right now, and I can't just recall it. Let's put it out there verbatim right now. But, I'm just saying that Cardi B has broken grounds. She's a trailblazer when it comes to Latina, artists. Or Latin artists to begin with. And like I said, Fat Joe is a trailblazer as well, but we're talking about Cardi and what she's done. And same with Nicki. Nicki has shown that, hip hop artists, can be a great investment and are sustainable, and can be a scalable investment in the music industry. And I feel like they both have groundbreaking artists. And so I just didn't like when the narratives was made, that they had one has to win in order for another to take an L, or that they couldn't both coexist. Like I said, they're in two different lanes. They're both doing awesome things. And I never got caught up in the controversy of there being tension between them, which is natural. I mean, we've known it. We've seen it with Kim. We've seen it with Foxy, but we all seen also Missy and the Brat get together, and many others. So, Moni Love, Queen Latifah, we've seen this. So we've seen unity. And anyway, I'm just glad to see it at this level. And even if they don't do any, collabs together, just so young women can see this, and young men too, that we don't have to have conflict in order to be successful. That's period. And I gotta say this, I'll throw a point out there. We haven't seen, Sade, not that I've seen, I haven't followed a lot of interviews, shade anyone. She's just a revered and respected artist, and I say that to say this, is she in hip hop? No. Let me use somebody in hip hop. I rarely hear, and I hate to say this, I know this sounds cliche, but let's just say Jay-Z. He's a hip hop juggernaut. Okay. That can't be disputed. Yes, he's spoken his mind about certain people that he may not agree with, but he doesn't typically drag people in order to get headlines or clicks or follows or streams. I feel like he just simply puts his mind into making great content. And I feel like that's what we all can do. Anyways, back to the Cardi and Nicki thing. I'm glad that they're taking a stance and they're not letting the media or anyone else take reins of that. Because like I said, I felt like most of the people that were speaking on them really envied them. And a lot of times people that speak on a lot of negative stuff really has some envious issues or self-image issues. It's just what it is. If you look into it and research it a lot more, you'll understand exactly what I'm saying. And I want to get to the clout chasing thing. And I did mention Trippie Redd and Tekashi 6ix9ine. For those of you that are not familiar with these artists in hip hop, this is part of the newer generation in hip hop, both talented young men. They have appearances that many don't agree with, tattoos on their faces, colorful hair, which I feel like is just forms of expression. I'm a tattoo artist and I've tattooed faces. So you're certainly not going to hear me place judgment on these young artists. People have been getting tattooed on those faces as tribal rituals for years. And it's based on their beliefs, and everyone doesn't share their beliefs. So like, we're not going to go criticizing them. So I'm not going to criticize these kids for being expressive. I feel like if they're serving their fans and adding value to the fans, that's all they need to do. No one is perfect. No one's a fucking saint. And I think that was the problem in Hollywood, trying to paint the picture that people are picture perfect, they're saints. And the book of Ecclesiastes and scripture has already shed the light on, hey, this is the heart of man. Okay. No one is perfect. This is what you got to look out for, man. But that doesn't mean you're bad. Okay. And if we want to talk about this, and the only reason why I'm saying this, because I'm a non-religious person, but people like to throw the Bible and Jesus around conveniently. Jesus himself, he hung around outcasts, killers, rapists, thieves, because he was more interested in bringing them to light and bringing them to enlightenment and a newer understanding and renewing their minds, rather than hang around people who had already been enlightened and uplifted. So that's one thing. When I hear people pointing out the worst in others to kind of trying to frame narratives, it's definitely a hypocrisy to scripture. And it's like, I don't like when people conveniently use those things. So I like to point those things out at all times. People will conveniently use lines, to support their beliefs. And that's called it's a particular bias. It's confirmation bias is what that is. And you'll hear me, if there's any mentor or any influencer that has inspired me, I'm going to tell you like this. 9 times out of 10, they said something that I didn't want to hear in the beginning, but I knew it hit home in such a way that I had to rethink and recalibrate and reassess my mindset and how I'm moving. So I don't look to mentors or people who are more experienced than me who think like I do. I'm not looking for people that agree with me. I'm looking for people who are honest about what it takes to improve myself and my self-worth. So that's what I mean by the clout chasing thing and trying to crowd please and bigging up conflict as if it will take you to the next level. And all of these things are relevant because what I'm seeing is, in terms of conflict, is people calling each other out as clout chasers. Like I said, it could be a phrase that was coined by academics. And anyway, we know what it is. People that's trying to get a rep, right? As Guru had said it, right? Gangstar, trying to get a rep. That's what clout chasing is, essentially. You're trying to get popular. You're trying to get the juice. And people are accusing each other, oh, they're clout chasing or whatever. Now, do I agree with the methods that other people use, controversy, conflict, airing out other people's dirty laundry? No, I don't agree with those methods, but I'm not going to criticize. You know why? Because we're all trying to get it. If anyone uses a particular keyword in their headlines, their description, or their YouTube videos, a headline in general, whether it's a newspaper, whether it's online, whether it's a mailing piece, whatever it is, magazine, we're trying to get your attention. It's just simply the way you break through, give noise. There's a lot of information coming to us human beings and an hourly from all ends. So of course you got to break through the noise, and you got to use some sort of pattern interruption to kind of get people's attention, to focus on what you're saying and what you have. And I talked about my backstory to let you know that I'm just an up and coming guy. I'm not doing this already. I'm sleeping on people's couches, for Christ's sake. You know, I'm building it. But the reason why I'm doing this is to show that if you have something to say or something to share it with the world. Don't hold people back and deny people the value of the experience that you have based on where you are now. You're already valuable. You have to believe that you are valuable before you have wealth and material things. If it takes for you to have materialism and wealth to feel valuable, you have self-image issues. You have to tackle that. It took me a lot of years, people, and you know that it took me a lot of years to get to the point where I absolutely accepted myself for where I was and what I had. I've been homeless and all of these things. And I'm not saying that to gain sympathy or any of that stuff, because that for me to even come off is feeling sorry or complaining just would be an hypocrisy, because I believe you can and be grateful at the same time. They both can't coexist, simply put. But I'm saying that to say this is that I'm able to be transparent because I value who I am and I believe in myself, and I always have. I pursued everything that I pursued, became a published author when people didn't think I could. And I actually published books. I was like in homeless states, publishing books, going through, sleeping on floors. I published 4 books in 2 weeks on Kindle. And then I think I was kicked out. I was homeless. And then I wound up publishing 3 Audible books. Had no money in my pocket, sleeping on the basement floor. And I did this. I went through a lot of depression, you know, got my GED when I was depressed, published my first books, through depression. Despite a lot of those things, I was able to do that. And the reason why my voice needs to be heard, because a lot of people don't think that they can accomplish things. I just started my own brand, and my ideas are now in reality. I've sold my ideas in forms of tattoos, books, and other things. Even sold some books online, even without having the whole marketing thing down. Didn't even run my first ad on my book, and I made sales. I'm just saying that to say, stop waiting for things to be perfect and stop trying to please everybody before you get started. Get started, believe in who you are, and you can get done. Anyway, you don't have to call someone out as being a clout chaser when you yourself want some sort of clout, and there's nothing wrong with that. So I really wanted to touch on that. We don't have to beef. Basically, give people what they want, because at the end of the day, the circus act, the buffoonery, is not going to lead to sales. It's not going to lead to longevity. It's not going to lead to impact. Sway, from Sway in the Morning, basically said that the beef stuff and all of the antics is not going to fool people. Either you're able to create hits, songs that they resonate with, or you're not. So the smoke and mirror stuff is unnecessary. And in terms of everyone trying to call each other out, everyone is clout chasing. Like I said, if you're using keywords, if you're using any metadata, which you should, tags in your YouTube videos, which is smart, because you want your video to get found. You're going to want to use an interesting thumbnail. Everyone uses clickbait. They do it in media, non-media people, YouTubers, entertainers. Everyone uses headlines, sub-headlines. You know, direct response marketing is the style marketing that I'm a student of and that I'm using, and that I'm learning and that I believe in, because it makes sense. It cuts through the noise, and that's what you want to do. So you'll never hear me, calling somebody out for clout chasing. We all do it. The point is, do you have a message that's impactful? Are you adding actually any value, or are you just simply looking for something, in exchange for nothing? And that's my point. The situation, because I hear Trippie Redd and 6ix9ine calling each other out for clout chasing. I made you, you made me. Here's the thing. Both of these guys have followers, and that's all they should focus on, their followers and their fan base. I think a media tactic that's been put out there is that you should be worried about the other side. And I'm going to bring up academics in this one. And like I said, I'm not trying to shade or anything. I'm just using relevant people in hip hop as it relates to the points that I'm making. He had spoke with Wale, academics did, and was like, the consensus is that people think you're corny. No, he basically was speaking on what he's seen through his lens. What he's seen a few people it wasn't the popular consensus. It wasn't. It's just what was available, and that would be the false consensus effect. And the reason why I'm throwing these terms out there, so you guys can do the research and get an understanding. So you can call it out. Oh, that's false consensus effect. They're trying to spin a narrative that majority of everybody feels this way, when in fact that's not the case. They don't have enough empirical data to actually back it up. Or the false uniqueness effect. They want to make it seem like they're the only ones that's going through a struggle, or that, they're the only ones that, are good or honest or whatever. And actually that's not the case. There's a lot of great people out there. That's why I say people should never feel alone, because there's always somebody going through what you're going through, and literally millions of people in this world of nearly 8 billion people. So I want to give that, because I think it's important for me to talk about false uniqueness and false consensus effects, because there's some people who literally will take their life feeling all alone, or feeling like the entire world is against them, or that because someone disagrees, that's the way of the world. And even if there was a majority, you have to be able to take a stand on something that you believe in. And I also want to talk about the free thought thing before I close today's episode. Everyone is talking about the free thought. And I heard someone say, if you choose a side as far as being Republican or Democrat, you're not free thought. Yes, it actually is. Free thought is not defined by that. And I had to say that to clear this narrative up, because that's more manipulation. Free thought is being able to choose a side, Democrat or Republican, based on what you personally believe in, without worrying about what your family thinks, society, or anyone else thinks. That's free thought. To being able to think and choose what you feel and how you believe. Everything is designed to where you have to collapse on a decision. Period. You can be into various things and numerous things. I could love many different types of dogs. I don't have to like just German Shepherds. Okay, so I don't have to choose and settle just for the German Shepherd. I can like a dog and also like a cat. That's free thought. I can agree with a Democratic point. I can agree with a Republican point. If a person running for office, and I'm not a political person, the only reason why I would even vote Democrat, and I have voted Democrat, is when I agree with the views of that person. Okay? I'm not looking for anybody to pander to what my beliefs are. I'm looking to be challenged. I don't want to be supported by the government or anybody else. I don't want handouts. When I need help, I can transparently ask for it. But I'm here to earn, and I feel like being self-reliant is very important. But I also understand that we can't do everything by ourselves, and we do need teams. But I know that if I'm good for it, if I know that I would help someone, which I've helped many people, I don't mind asking for help. You know, I agree with synergy and teamwork, but I also feel like we should be self-sufficient and do things to help ourselves. Now, fortunately with me, it's documented, me helping myself. You know, you literally can go and watch a trajectory of me improving my art abilities, me improving as a writer. You know, I've done things. Of course, I'm a published author. I'm an ASCAP member. You know, I understood things. Seeing the situation with Lil Wayne, I knew that I wasn't already in the music industry, but I have a passion for songwriting and to not be an artist. You know, that's just not who I am. I'm going to write for film and television, but I don't want to be an actor. I just love creating stories and giving that content. Anyway, with the Wayne thing, I saw that you had to be educated as to how these things work. You know, what is masters? What is a master recording, a SRC recording? What is a royalty breakdown? What is only your publishing? What is the smartest way to publish your music? As I learned as an ASCAP member, the smart way, and this is a tip I'm just throwing out there for any up and coming creators. What you do when you register as both a publisher and a writing. That way you get to own 100% of your publishing, and you get to leverage more in deals. Okay. And then you can leverage and do royalty share deals, even if you don't have upfront capital to pay for something. If you have something that people are interested in, by owning 100% of the royalties, you can leverage and give out royalty share. I've done that with 3 of my audiobooks. I paid, guys to narrate those books for me, and I didn't have upfront cash. So I simply leveraged by giving a royalty share. So that's another thing. But anyway, I want to get back to the focusing on your fan base in terms of the crowd pleasing part of it. Academics were saying that, you know, the false consensus, you know, and I'm saying that it was a false consensus effect. He wanted to spin the narrative that most people thought, Wale was corny. Here's the thing. All Wale needs to do is really establish a strong connection with his current fan base and grow more fans. All he has to do is move forward, open up, be transparent, make the best music he can, and serve the rap audience honestly. trying to please the people that don't want to see him succeed, who only willing to listen to one side, who are not accurate thinkers. Inaccurate thinkers, people who argue, I think you have to be able to argue. I don't want to, you have to be able to argue both sides, basically. You can't just argue one side. That's automatically your bias. In arguing logic, you have to be able to argue both sides. So to collapse on one perspective is just always flawed. In psychology, they call it the hedgehog with blinders. You don't want to be a hedgehog with blinders. You want to be a fox with dragonfly eyes, meaning open your mind up to different perspectives, being able to argue both sides. You automatically are biased when you're trying to prove someone wrong. If the only way that you can prove someone wrong is to call them out, no one is perfect. If someone comes on edge out your dirty laundry, you'll be looking bad just as well as that's the problem I have. Most of the people who rush to bring up negative points or talk about something negative got some issues themselves. It's just bottom line. So trying to call each other out and call each other out as clout chasers, none of it makes sense. So we have to all stop doing it. Everyone is doing it. If there's a headline that they would use to grab our attention, that's why I said read books like Influence, Persuasion. Just read a lot of books to study direct response marketing. Gurus like Dan Kennedy, Gary Halbert, even going back to, let me say, it's, Robert Collier. There's a lot of, these tactics being used, and the main tactic is, and it's used in politics a lot too, they'll expose the tactics of the other side in order to gain leverage and trust with other people. And it's a tactic, I feel like this. Talk about the flaws that's going on with you and how you correct it. I feel like being the change in your life is the only way. Judging other people is not going to change anything. So I say that to say you shouldn't try to please the crowd. If there's a group of people that don't believe in me or not fans, I'm not going to go out my way to convince these people. Period. I'm not here to please everybody. There are going to be some people who disagree with me. For me even saying that I understand some of Kanye's points, there are people who already decided that they're not going to deal with me. And that's fine. I'm not here to please anyone. I'm here to simply be honest and transparent. I'm not going to say anything for shock value. I'm not going to say anything to leverage conflict to keep people interested. I'm just simply going to be me. By default, me standing up and being myself, there's going to be people who champion that and there's going to be people who disagree. So I don't have to do anything. I don't have to do any media stunts, anything that's looking like a damn circus act. I don't have to do that. And I also don't have to call anyone else, because if that's what they want to do to gain someone's attention, do what you do, period. But just understand the consequences that come when you're looking to drag someone down to come up. You have to accept that those similar attacks coming to you. That's all I'm saying. So basically you shouldn't try to please the crowd. Okay. In terms of Trippie and 6ix9ine trying to call each other out for negative points, neither one I'm perfect. No human being is. Period. So to use a tactic to say, oh, you're hanging around woman beaters, or you're hanging around pedophiles. Here's my thing, and I'm going to put this out here. Many of you people may not know, but I'm building my brand, right? You see me doing this podcast, doing what I love, talking about hip hop. I'm passionate about it. I actually get to do what I'm passionate about and cause, an impact. I get to add value. I'm not just simply talking about gossip or what's going on in the news. I do my best to report facts. And a lot of it, I like to follow the actual artist and not just get information from the media and just share my side. So I like to hear both sides. If the media reports something, I like to see if I can find out what an artist said on that live or in any of their social media platforms, so I can honestly speak on both of the situations. My main thing is I was in a situation where I used to, like I said, I was a womanizer, sex addict. In the days of MySpace, when I was promoting myself as a tattoo artist, when I was working at a shop in DC, I was sending out a lot of nude pics, trading a lot of nude pics with women. And I realized that, listen, I see people trying to tear people's brands down by leaking their new photos, man. I'm building my brand. If some chick was angry that I didn't marry her or get with her and tries to leak my new photos as I'm building my brand, I can't have that. So I chose to, make my message and be transparent and live my truth. I posted my own news. I leaked my own news. And I did it so much to literally desensitize people to it because, I knew that there wasn't any, email or text records or recordings or videos or anything showing me in a bad light. And I'm confident in that. And I know not a lot of people can say is because there's always a tweet or some DM or some inbox or some text or whatever that someone can reveal or some recording. And, I've simply kept my nose clean based on that because that's just who I am. I wasn't going to let anyone spin any narratives on me. I understood. And I'm not even gonna lie, reading that 48 Laws of Power woke me up to it. And even though some people are disturbed by that book, people, I'm telling you, it helped me. It let me know what it really was. Just like the book of Ecclesiastes in the Bible. Basically, it was like a shorter version of the 48 Laws. Just letting me know the true hearts of man and what man is capable of, as well as the positive. So I'm like, damn, I gotta, protect my brand. That's why I say you have to do your own PR. You have to speak to yourself or people are going to do that. So when I see people defending each other, I have no problem with it. I just have a problem of people trying to call each other out on negative points when no one is perfect. And people read Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. It'll give you a better insight. And I'm not trying to convince you to become a stoic or anything, but just the points that we shouldn't be shocked by the hearts of man or the behaviors of man, period. Because we're all capable of these things. When we hear it, we shouldn't be shocked that someone does a mass murdering. What we need to focus on is not treating people as if making people feel bad for being human. That's a lot of the reason why people spaz out and they zap out and kill people, because they're taught and given the messages that they're not worth it if they make a mistake, or it's not worth it to pursue life. You're incorrigible. You're a deadbeat. You shouldn't try to improve. And I see that same narrative, and it started us taunting each other in elementary. So read the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Dr. Maxwell Moss so you can understand that it's all self-image and it was all formed to manipulate you. And that, in order for you to be successful, you have to see yourself in a big light. So that automatically tells you people try to make you feel small for mistakes so you won't feel big, so you won't get the success. That's just the trick of it. So they air out your dirty laundry without airing theirs. But I'm telling you, the danger of this whole trying to air people out is that you're going to get aired out too. If you was in anybody DM saying something crazy, like cheating on your man, flirting with someone else while you're in a relationship or marriage, that shit going to come off crazy. So people need to be very careful. And what's happening is I'm seeing that celebrities, they've gotten so used to being aired out that they're now airing people out too. They're starting to air out, recorded message conversation that they're having. They're starting to put out tweets, people tweeting them, people in their DM. So the celebrities are calling people out too. And as they should, because like I said, you need to control your narrative. Like I said, if I have a conversation with anybody and they want some crazy stuff, I'm going to air that out too. Just like I leak my own nudes. And besides, I wasn't shamed. I mean, what's the worst somebody can say? Oh, he has a big dick. Wow. So I didn't fear it. And I mean, I deleted this site, on my terms, but I wanted to put that out there so no one could tear my brands down. I'm not going to be ashamed about the things I'm involved with. Am I going to share all my investments, my future investments? No. But am I going to stand by my brands because I believe in them? Yes. I have the wherewithal to push my brands, and to go through the changes, man. Like, you're not going to get a success no matter what you're doing. And I want to say that too, starting out. So stop trying to please the crowd. You're going to go through phases. You have to go through test phases. You have to experiment. You have to get feedback. If you get negative feedback, that's a positive thing. You can take that, find out what people want and build around that. You're supposed to reverse engineer from what customers, the clients, or anybody that you're designing content and products for. It has to be what they're into, not your great idea. It has to be a great idea based on what they want. So that's another thing. So fail fast. That's what it's about. Most people talk about it, but they're not able to be entrepreneurs. They're not able to really build brands because if they can't convince everybody, or if they can't, start out with a home run, they get discouraged and they can't take their brands through growth. And people, it's not even just important for your brand in order for you to be able to take all levels of challenges and growth and experimenting, even in your personal life. And that's why I just wanted to talk about how cheating thing. You should try to get attention, promote and talk to as many people as you can. Follow Gary V, Grant Cardone. They'll let you know you're not talking to nearly enough people. Not nearly enough people know who you are. So a lot of people will tell you to move in silence. Bullshit. You know what I'm saying? Closed mouths don't get fed. That's bottom line. You know what I'm saying? Closed mouths don't get fed. You know, people got to hear you, know what you're about, know what you are. If they don't know what you have to offer, they will never know who you are. That's the only reason why I say stop focusing on other people and trying to bring other people down when they need to hear more about you. And that's why I touched on my story. You need to hear a little bit more about me and who you're talking to. I refuse to be framed in any narratives because I'm building my brand. I know that intimidates some people. I refuse. I'm not ashamed of anything that I come from, the poverty. Most people, the successful people that I follow, have all been homeless and all been impoverished and all of that shit. It's an old story. That shit ain't nothing new. I like to talk about it because it inspires people and it shows that I don't make fucking excuses, and I'm doing it. And like I said, and I used to get caught up in stuff like that too. I'm not above it. You know, it's just that I've learned and I've changed. I've just noticed a lot of people spend too much time in trying to warn people or criticize, and they don't do enough. They don't create enough. They don't have any intellectual properties. They're not impacting. If you followed my journey, I've been helping and sharing information the whole way. That's just who I've been. So if you hear me talking about books on here, it's nothing weird. You know, follow me in fucking social media. That's what I've been doing. Will I be doing affiliate, partnerships with certain authors and certain brands? Yes, I am going to be doing that. Yes, I'm going to be partnering with people, and I'm only going to endorse what I believe in, period. But yes, I will do it. Am I gaining financially now from mentioning the books? No, I'm not. I'm actually sharing information that has truly helped me. And my breakthroughs is needed. My information is needed out there. It's because there's a lot of people that been through what I've been through, and they just simply given up. I want you to know that, listen, I was out living outside. I was homeless when I honed my skills as a songwriter, reading many books, practicing it. I was homeless. I was homeless when I published my first 4 Kindle ebooks, my first 3 Audible books. I was homeless when I designed the first t-shirts for my apparel company. I was homeless. I was homeless, still getting tattoo clients, still going out there doing my best work and learning. Man, I was getting, people stabbing at me, poking at me, ridiculing me. But I made it through the ups and downs, and that's important. People need to hear my story. And that's why I started the podcast. I wasn't going to wait till I become a millionaire to start it. No, I'm taking you guys from the journey. And that's why I'm inspired by Cardi B. That's the important factor that I feel Cardi B plays in just entertainment in general. She showed her rise from nothing. She didn't wait till she was popping to start a podcast or to start vlogging or whatever. She started from the trenches. And I think that's important, to believe in yourself from where you are, to not need validation through having things. You are greater than any material thing. Any material thing that you see out here comes from the human mind. Period. And I don't want to get all deep on that, but it's just simply a fact. Everything first starts out as a thought. Okay, I thought of my books, now they're real. I thought of the apparel, my clothing, now it's real. Okay, the reason why my story it needs to be heard is because I was able to take something from nothing. And I'm going to speak on rappers as it relates to us. And like I said, I'm not here to defend them. If a rapper makes a bad decision, they make a bad decision. But I'm not going to write people off. Robbie Downey Jr. made some of the biggest comebacks. So yes, people like to tear people up, and then there's some people that love to tear people down. But people do like good comebacks. I just want people to ride it out. In the phase of natural human evolution and development, we're going to go through ugly phases. Don't be discouraged by that. That's where the juice is, where the trouble is, the pain and the discomfort. That's where the most treasure is. Fail. That's where you get better, where you learn from. You learn how to do it right by getting it wrong. That's how cybernetics work. Servo mechanisms, a correction mechanism. Even rocket systems have that. That's pretty much where how cybernetics came about, understanding that shit. This shit is based on how we are as human beings. We're self-correcting creatures. The line of success is a zigzag line. It's not a straight line. So we all going to readjust. We're going to pivot. We're going to iterate. That's what we're going to do. So never feel bad about getting negative feedback. You need to. That's how you're going to design your best. Okay. You stay in a negative feedback loop. You're going to stay in a negative feedback loop if you're being discouraged by it, if you're having an emotional reaction to something. The thing is to get away from that emotional reaction of it. And I have a thing called OR, observe, accept, and adapt. You can't win it if OR ain't in it. That's my saying. You have to apply that to everything in life. Observe the reality of the situation, accept it for what it is, and adapt. Make the most out of it. Make the obstacle the way. Read that book by Ron Holiday as well, that book inspired me to read Marcus Aurelius Meditations, by the way. But make the obstacle the way. So I will never count anyone out. I will never try to call another human being out or make them seem like they're the worst based on a context of what they're dealing with, because I don't know the full context. And that's the thing, and what I'm saying, people jumping out there in the media too fast. And Adrian Broner put out a fake story about him having this chain snatched, and I'm glad that he did that. And some people would get tired of trolling, but you know what? This is how I look at it. You only give powers to the troll when you react to it. I feel like putting out false news and jumping out the window, you shouldn't do it. So I like when people like 6ix9ine do that, troll like that. I like that Adrian Broner did that, because it takes it back to Thinking Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. We got to gossip better. Know both sides. Stop jumping the fucking gun and jumping out there too fucking quick. We do this Me Too movement thing. Oh, Me Too. You know what I'm saying? And the reason when I say Me Too, and I'm not taking from Black Lives Matter or anything, women standing up for being violated, because I believe in it. Do not violate man, woman, or child. I do not believe in that. And like I said, I was a sex addict, a womanizer. Wasn't perfect, but I just believe that we shouldn't violate. But at the same time, I don't feel like you should try to diminish someone for mistakes that they've made. And you won't ever see me doing that. I am a private person. I am very transparent. You'll see me talk about things in my personal life to the degree in a general sense, and how it relates to people and the value that I have. But I will never air out people in my personal life just to gain something. And the reason why I move the way I move is because I'm going to tell my own truth. I'm always going to respond if someone is painting a false narrative of me, because I'm going to build my brand. And I understand that there are people who have their own self-image issues who may not want to see my brand successful. And I don't, like I said, I'm not here to please the crowd. I'm here to focus on people that support me and believe in me. I get words of encouragement, people supporting my brand, and that's all I'm focused on. I'm fortunate enough to have the wherewithal to build a brand through the good and the bad. Okay. And the reason why I wanted to give my backstory is to give you guys some inspiration out there who's trying to build something. Don't try to please the crowd, and don't be ashamed of trying to get clout for what you're doing. It's a trick to keep you quiet and to keep you down. But the only people it's going to hurt is the people who you're going to absolutely add value to. You have to go out there and get your name heard, but you don't necessarily have to drag someone else down to bring yourself up. That's all I'm saying. All you have to do is add genuine value. And trust me, if it's something that you believe in and stand on, it's not going to feel like work. A lot of people tell me, oh, prospecting is, you know what? Because I'm adding value and I really believe I am, and I'm excited about what I do, it's not hard work. I had to just simply get out of my own way psychologically. I was just like a lot of other people. I didn't like rejection. I was afraid of what other people were going to think about me. So I wasn't really enthusiastic about promoting myself and my brand. But now I've gotten past that. And yes, it did take effort. And as you Thinking Fast and Slow, you'll understand. The pupils dilate when effort is put into something. It takes effort, people, to rewire your thinking. It takes effort. Neuroplasticity takes effort. It can simply be done. You can set up a schedule, and by following that schedule, right, you're creating new muscle memory. You're taking out the time that's allotted for bad behavior and bad habit, and you're replacing it with positive and constructive habit explicitly, because you're following a plan. That's why they say write your schedule out, write it down, so you can see it and be aware in the now. So you're not worried about past mistakes or worried about any future fears. That is when you're off your game. And that's why I say, people, focus on what you control. Why would I tell a person to focus on what their haters are saying about them? Doesn't make sense. Only focus on adding value to the people. But if your haters are saying something, even though they're trying to be condescending and tear you down, if they have a true point, you better listen to that true point and use it. Run with it. Okay? I've done that. If someone speaks to me in a condescending manner, but they're speaking the truth, I'm going to take the truth and run with it, what they're saying. I'm not going to let them discourage me, because a lot of times people say things in a disingenuous manner to give you advice, only to tear you down. It's because they envy what you're doing. You won't hear me complaining about people envying me or trying to discourage me because I'm chasing my dream. It takes balls to do what I'm doing. But guess what? Any one of us can develop these balls. And that's why you damn right I'm going to share the information and what's working for me and what's helped me break through. A lot of people talk it, but they couldn't survive it. They couldn't go homeless and still push their dreams, still publish their books, still learn how to market themselves and stop making excuses. I published my books before I even understood anything about direct response marketing. Period. And I learned, look, it costs money. I got to invest in myself. So I got to hustle. I'm proud of myself. I'm my own boss, and you should be too. So don't look at it as a bad thing as far as clout, and don't try to please the crowd. So I want to get off that topic. Salute to both Trippie Redd and 6ix9ine. I feel like they're two men, young men, minority men doing it. And that's what they should need to be focused on, not bringing each other up through tearing each other down. And salute to Cardi and Nicki for showing people that you can be women, that there should be a unity and sisterhood. And I feel like that's what's missing. I even created a t-shirt, with missing puzzles in a puzzle heart, showing that we need more unity, as far as women and men. And like I said, crowd pleasing, don't try to do it. Cloud chasing, don't feel ashamed of it. You're supposed to get out there with the bullhorn and announce who you are. Shout it out to the world, as many people as you can. You just don't necessarily have to drag other people down while doing it. And this is your host, SP the Artist, signing out on the 4th episode of the Tell It Like It Is Hip Hop News Reaction Podcast. Please like and comment on my videos and share them and subscribe to the channel. And also hit the notification bell and enjoy the rest of your week. I'm out.
The podcast you just heard was recorded with Anchor. If you want to make your own, download the Android or iOS app completely free from anchor.fm/podcast. That's anchor.fm/podcast.